Hey everyone, Sycra here, and today I have the great pleasure of interviewing the amazing character designer and mentor to so many, overall great guy, teacher. You may know him as a character designer on shows like Kim Possible, Danny Phantom, Clerks, so many more. You might know him from his schoolism classes that he offers, where he is just an amazing instructor. Or maybe you know him from his YouTube page, where he offers helpful advice and guidance to aspiring artists, people who are getting into the field. What else? He does apps, he has books. Uh, God, I'm just so happy to be here with you, Stephen. How are you?
Thanks. Good, good. Thanks. How you doing? Thanks for doing this. This is great.
Yeah. So I wanted to start in the beginning. I noticed you have a bit of an accent,
Yes.
and you're from America. So
Right.
where were you born? And
Yeah, I was originally born in London, England, and moved to the States when I was around 10 years old, to San Diego. Um, yeah.
right. And how did art first impact your life?
It was kind of weird. When I was like 6 years old, I actually found an artist's sketchbook laying in my backyard, looking out my bedroom window, and there was just an art book. And I went out there and picked it up, and there were all these drawings, figure drawings, head portraits, landscapes, and I really carried it with me everywhere I went. And I was always just kind of drawing from when I remember that point on. So I was just always drawing. That's just kind of like what I just wanted to do, all I kind of knew, all that I was good at. I was never good academically, really, or anything. And when I moved to the United States, same thing, was just always drawing. When I was in high school, drawing for my high school newspaper, just drawing, and found Norman Rockwell's artwork when I was about 13 years old at my cousin's house. And from that point, I was like, whoa, what is this? And really got inspired by that. And then Mad Magazine became another huge inspiration.
Wow. So
Yeah.
you're always drawing. Is anyone in your family particularly artistic, or?
No one in my family draws. I mean, my dad drew as a kid, but that was it. I have seven people in my family. There are five kids and my parents, but otherwise, no one drew. It was just kind of me. Everyone kind of did their own different things, became engineers and did whatnot. But for me, it was just drawing. That's all I knew how to do. That's all I wanted to do. I didn't
Okay.
know where it was ever going to take me. All I knew is I wanted to do that.
So were you always the best artist in the class, and everyone would huddle around to look at your work, or?
Yeah, even though the work was really crappy and it was really bad looking back, because I have a lot of that old stuff, but yes, in retrospect, I was always the better artist, and that wasn't saying much, but I was always the guy that, especially in high school, people would always want me to draw stuff, always drawing in everyone's high school yearbooks. That was always a big thing.
Okay, so you're a kid who draws, but then how do you transition to an adult with an art job? Is that something you thought of? Did you go to art school, or how do you make that transition?
Yeah, there was no art school for me. I mean, after school, it was all about, after high school, the parents, you got to go to college. This is what you got to do. But it's like, well, I'm going to go to college, but I don't know what I want to do in college. What does that mean? And I was still knew I wanted to be an artist. So I remember just going to a community college, but my grades were never good enough to get me into just a real nice school. There was no scholarship I was getting or anything like that. And I just remember talking to the counselors, they're just saying, so what do you want to do? My interest was always art, and they almost didn't know what to tell me, because that's not what they do. They tell you how to become a psychiatrist or an engineer or something else, but what does it mean to become an artist? And what I realized at a young age, what it means to become an artist is not about your diploma. It's not about the grades you get in school. It's about how well you can draw. And I knew that at around 18 years old. I don't know how I knew that, but I just kind of knew that. And I told my parents, I went to college for a little bit, like a year, but I was drawing on all my stuff, hated it. All my assignments I was drawing on, and told my parents I was dropping out, that I want to be an artist. And all anyone is going to care about is how well I can draw. So I spent a lot of my time just drawing, like just crazy. I was going to life drawing classes. I was constantly drawing in my sketchbook. I was copying other artists. And that's how I started to develop my own skill. by the pure passion and want of me wanting to do it. No one was having to tell me what to do, what assignments to do, what was when something was due or not due. It's like I drew because I wanted to, and I think that's what pushed me over the edge in many ways and made me that much better.
Wow. Yeah, because a lot of people ask, what do I do? And seems like your answer is draw.
That's it. It's as simple as that is. It's just draw, because the bottom line, what it all comes down to for this whole thing, it's all about your skill level. It really is. And it's about just repetition. It's about drawing things over and over again. And it's about getting good, because once you start to get good, that's when people start to notice, because they feel that maybe they're not as good. Some people may think they're not really good, but how do they get better? Just by looking at artists that are better than them. Well, how did that artist get so good? And then you try to dive into their stories, and any real talented artist working professional artists will tell you, I just drew, and I was drawing all the time, and I studied other artists, and my goal was to always get better, and that's what it is. But I feel that I've met a lot of artists who are at that place where their stuff it's good. The ideas, the imagination is there, but the execution is missing. It's how they kind of actually put it all together, how they put the shape language together, how they construct things together. So sometimes the student or the artist needs that guidance. Sometimes the artist they can't do any of that. They don't have the imagination, and they don't have that yet. They just want to draw. So it gets a little trickier, as to, well, what do I need to study? I think the biggest thing too, you kind of need to know what it is you love to do. Do you love drawing people? I love drawing people. Do you love drawing environments? Do you love painting? And I feel you really got to try to follow that as early as possible. And you should know that by a young age. You should know, like, by the time you're 18, 19, I love drawing people, or I love drawing cars, or I love drawing robots, or I love drawing props, or I love painting flowers. Whatever it is, by that age, you should kind of know, and I think you got to follow that. And when you follow that feeling, that gut instinct you have, that's what's going to take you to the next level to improve your skill. Drawing all the time, repetition, to eventually get you to the place you need to be.
Okay, so you knew you loved drawing people, but did you know you wanted to be a character designer?
No, not at all. That was so far-fetched. I didn't even know what a character designer was when I got hired as one. I was doing caricatures. That was my background. I was drawing caricatures at amusement parks when I was 18, and I loved it. That's where I got all my training, from drawing caricatures. So then I started opening up my own caricature concession stands in shopping malls and places, and doing private events where I was being hired for that. Then I wanted to start doing caricatures for magazines, and I was trying to do that and submitting work to that. And I just wanted to really have a career owning caricature concession stands in amusement parks and hiring other artists like the people that hired me to do. And just, at one point, I met someone who worked at Warner Brothers at a meeting, and they said to me, keep in touch, because I showed them my work, and they liked kind of what they saw, but I wasn't really ready. And I kept in touch, and I submitted their stuff, my stuff to them. They said, can I show my stuff? I went up to Warner Brothers, and I met this person, and they looked at my stuff, and they said, hey, let me take it upstairs. I think they need a character designer. They're looking for one. I'm like, what's a character designer? Again, not going to school, never doing turnarounds, not doing anything. I didn't know what it was. They said, oh, you're the person who's responsible for designing characters for new shows. And I dropped off my portfolio. And the team on the show called Hysteria, they loved what was in there. It was a mismatch of everything. My sketchbooks, my life drawings, whatever. My caricatures, had tons of caricatures. And the director liked what he saw, and he said, we're going to hire you as a character designer. And he kind of had to show me what that even meant. Like, he showed me how to do my first turnaround. Wow. He showed me how to do my first mouth chart. So, I got to credit just really my mentor in a sense for that. His name was Bob Doucette, and he was the director that first hired me in the animation industry. And I really owe my whole career to him, because he gave me an opportunity where a lot of directors, they don't have the time to give that to you now. They want you to be, you got to have it. Show me that you can do this. back then, 97, maybe there was a little bit more time on the schedule hands, you know, and gave his time to me, and that's what led me to be a character designer.
Awesome. So actually, I was aware of your work, but I didn't, because I remember watching Kim Possible and saying like, wow, that's cool, but I didn't really know about Steven Silver until I saw your schoolism classes actually. So how did you get from character designer to schoolism?
Yeah, it was interesting was I was doing, you know, I've been doing character design, and while I was doing that, then I started to get into self-publishing. I started making my own books because you're right, people weren't aware of what I did, the shows I've worked on from Clerks, by that time, Kim Possible, Danny Phantom, your name goes up in the credits like, zoop, 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 you know, so no one knows who did it, so I started self-publishing my own books. And that started to build up a name for myself where people started to go, oh, this is the guy who did those shows. This is the guy that started to become that tying element. And then Bobby Chu, who started, you know, schoolism, this was before schoolism though, he had contacted me. He had seen my very first book and had my first book, but at that point it was just a little tiny sketchbook. It wasn't even a real published book. I don't know how he got it, him being in Canada. But he saw it, and he had emailed me one day and said, hey, you know, I'd like to send you a book that I've done. You know, I'm going through all this sort of, you know, he was going through situations in his life for whatever he was doing and working at a job. Didn't know what he wanted to do kind of in his career. And I said, listen, just give me a number, let's chat, you know, and he sent me some stuff. So I called him one day, and remember I was driving. I spoke with him for like an hour, and we just had a great conversation. And just after that, we ended up meeting at New York one time, and we became friends. And then one year he said, hey, I'm starting this school. I want to do this thing. Do you want to, you know, right now it's just him. You know, it's just being built. Would you come on as a teacher teaching character design? And I said, yeah, that'd be awesome. Sounds perfect. Exactly the sort of, I'm in that place right now. This is what I want to do. I want to teach. And that's how sort of schoolism kind of how I got involved in schoolism from the
Wow.
baby.
Wow. Yeah. So if there's a student and they're thinking about your schoolism class, maybe they are one of those people you mentioned, you know, they might have the ideas, but maybe they don't have the skill. Is that something that would be covered in your schoolism class?
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. Because that's what I see just a lot of is they're people that are just on the brink. You know, it's just like they're right there in so many ways sometimes. And design is a huge gamut. There's really no right or wrong to design. We've seen all different types of styles of shows, but there is a fundamental basis in understanding. So no matter if you're drawing the most simplest cartoon or the most, you know, intricate of cartoons, if you understand the fundamental, the foundation, the core, you know, and that means even just drawing a real head or just getting an understanding of how to put shapes together. That's what the course is about, is like giving you those fundamentals, giving you those building blocks, and more importantly, giving you the exercise. Like my whole course is really built on giving the artist the tools, the exercises on this is what you should be studying. This is what you should, on your own, because I can't be with you all the time. This is what you should be studying and practicing on your own in order to better yourself at this. And what's great about it is, you know, I get to work with individual, you know, one-on-one with the people. And that's what's so great, because everyone learns at a different pace. Everyone's learning, you know, maybe not picking things up as far, so I can cater to you and give you, maybe you're not as advanced, so I can give you my time for that. And then the advanced student, I can give this sort of attention to. So that's what's, you know, beneficial about it, what you'll get.
Wow. And lately, I've been subscribed to your YouTube channel for as long as it's been around, I think. But lately, you've been doing a lot of videos about the industry, and specifically, there's a lot of companies out there who are sort of exploiting artists. Mm-hmm. And you're giving advice how artists should protect themselves and get paid a fair amount. Did you want to talk about that a bit?
Yeah, you know, I think one of the biggest core problems that I've seen as an artist all these years and as a teacher is the struggle that so many artists go through. It's not only trying to build up their skill, that's one thing, but a lot of the time it's like, you know, you got to have the skill, but you also got to have the know-how if you want to be successful at this. And What I find is a lot of people just don't know what to do, how to charge. They're getting taken advantage of left and right by companies. And this is a huge problem. And this is why we hear those terms, artists are a dime a dozen, or so many artists get taken advantage of, artists aren't getting paid. And you start to hear this. A lot of the times it's because the artist is unaware of, you know, the real rules of the game, or understanding contracts, or understanding, you know, that contracts are not just one-sided. When someone gives you a contract, you can write something down and say, no, I want this instead, and you can negotiate. And, you know, it's about building up the self-confidence. So I saw this need, and I've known this need for a long time. So I thought, man, what a great outlet on YouTube, just to be able to share, or Facebook, where I do it a lot too, is sharing that knowledge and bringing this to the top of the line to bring the awareness, so that artists start working together and uniting, and people can start getting their worth and getting paid what they should be paid, and not getting screwed left and right, because the industry is changing dramatically, and the studios are seeing it. More people are starting to get into this crowdsourcing with the internet. This didn't exist 10 years ago. There wasn't the outlet, but now every company from you know, a Levi jeans to a motion movie house, you know, wants someone to design their poster. A basketball team wants you to redesign their uniform. Everyone needs an artist for something. So because everyone needs an artist to establish their logos, their identity, their website, you name it, artists are the core. Yet we're really the only profession that people feel it's okay to take advantage of. That people don't take advantage of lawyers like this. You pay a lawyer for their time. You pay a plumber for their time. You pay a gardener for their time. Why are artists any different? Because we let it be different. So this is why it's just so important. I felt I want to start. It's not just about art. I can't, you know, one thing to share art, beautiful, that's great, or talk about art. Okay, I can do that. But I can also talk about the importance, and what I want to bring awareness to is about the true understanding of getting our heads in the right place, to start not taking on these jobs, giving away our artwork for free, and it's not going to happen overnight, but eventually sort of getting rid of the artist struggle, because there is an artist struggle. And so I see that, and I've experienced a lot of things. I've done so many things in my life, in my 40 years, that now my place, my purpose on this planet is to start. I've done what I need to do, and now I need to start educating and guiding and helping the others, because I've gone through the self-publishing, I've done licensing, I've worked in the studios, I've done independent things, I've done it all. So now now this is the next generation. This is what needs to happen. Otherwise, if it doesn't change, it's just going to keep getting worse, as the internet is getting, you know, it's everyone's life now.
Right.
And who knows? I mean, people need to think about, you know, anything that you could be designing or developing for someone, you don't know what that could turn into. So you got to value your work. I mean, you could be designing the next Superman franchise. You don't know that. A company could contact you and say, hey, we want to hire you to do comic book characters. We're doing a comic book. Can you design the characters? Sure, great. You know, but they want to pay you $200. It's like, no, I'm not going to just $200, and I could be potentially making designing the next Superman. And those guys, Schuster, you know, Siegel, and I think it's, you know, I think it's Schuster was his last name. I call it the creators of Superman. Those guys died broke. They had nothing. They were taken advantage of. The person when I was researching this, who created Hello Kitty, the original, she was hired in '74. She created the little Hello Kitty character for a little purse thing. She was out of the company 2 years later. I don't know what happened. There was nothing written about it. And someone else took over her job and was designing the cat. You know, and she designed a multi-billion-dollar franchise, you know, and from what I can see or read, I can't see that she really benefited from it at all. So to me, it's like the artist is the franchise designer. We develop people's franchises. So if we start to value that and let people know our worth, what's going to happen is they're going to come to one artist and they're going to say, hey, we want you to design this logo or this character for us. You know, you get great exposure or whatever, you know. It's like, how much will you charge, or will you do this for free? You go, no, I won't. I'm not going to do it. Otherwise, it's this much. Okay, forget you. We're not going to use you. They go to the next artist. The next artist tells them the exact same thing. No, not doing it for less than $2,000 or whatever it is. Oh, shoot, looks like we can't really get this for nothing. They go to the third person, same thing. What will end up happening, eventually that client will realize, oh my God, I got to start paying these guys. And maybe they'll go back to the first person who will get paid, or that third person will get paid, but at least an artist will get paid. So the more artists that stick together and start saying, no, we're not giving away our ideas for free anymore. What's the point? Why should you profit and benefit and us sit there and starve and keep scrounging for another job? You know, why? There's no sense in that. So this is where my platform is. I just want to, is really, it's got to be said and it's got to be spread, is what this is all about. Just kind of, value your art is really the campaign, to just value your art and believe in yourself. And this is what's going to make you a better artist. You'll have more longevity as an artist. You'll enjoy this profession. And you say, hey, I can make a living doing this, because that's the misconception. A lot of people think you can't make a living at this. I never went to school. I just drew and I made a living at this, and it's been a great ride. And it's all because of the mindset that I had. And I never gave anything away for free, ever. I don't care who it was. I don't care if it was a cat, a cat grooming place down the street, whether they paid $20 or $40 for that cat I may have drawn for them for a flyer, I still got paid for it. Okay, so this is why I want artists to become aware. Understand what usage rights are all about. If someone wants something from you, that you give them a usage right. Say, hey, they want you to do that album cover, and it's a rap group or whoever, and they come to you and you say, well, that's great, but they only want to give you $200 because that's what they want to do. They want to have everything for nothing. And you say, well, that's not my rate. I'm not going to do that. But maybe you really do believe this rap group. Maybe you know of them. Maybe they have over 1 million followers. And you go, okay, I understand the exposure in that, but doesn't mean I'm giving it away for free, because their fans, their 1 million fans, aren't going to be calling you on the phone saying, hey, dude, can you design something for me too? And if they do, they'll probably want it for cheap, as well, for nothing. So you work out a deal. Go, hey, listen, Joe Blow, rapper guy, whoever you are, I'll do it, but first we're going to have a signed agreement, and I'll do it for $200, but for the cover of the album usage only. You may not use this image, and I own the rights to it, and you in a sense, licensing it from me. So I'll create the art for $200. You use it on your cover. Great exposure for me. My name's got to be written on the cover. You got to have my website written somewhere for that exposure purpose. But this cannot be put on T-shirts. It cannot be sold on anything else. If it is, well, then we need to negotiate another deal. And you get that all in writing first. And this is how an artist can begin to start to take control and protect themselves and start to earn a living and not be taken advantage of.
Right. Wow. Yeah, because it seems like a lot of artists are also doing this to themselves, and it's like artists have this allergy to business. I'm allergic to business. I can't. And there's this other thing where if you do go in that route, sometimes you're afraid of being labeled as a sellout, because a lot of people, especially fans, will say, oh, why are you charging? You're in it for the money. And something really scary for me is I was just browsing DeviantArt, and I would see things like a guy's charging maybe $20 for a picture that probably took 3 hours, 4 hours to do. And it's just, it's this feeling of, well, if I don't charge 20, the next guy who maybe he's in Europe or Asia, and maybe the cost of living is much lower, so maybe that's a reasonable rate. They're going to do it, so I better do that. I have to do that to compete. So what do you say to those people?
I just feel like if you keep doing that, you're never going to get to the professional level. I mean, and you're just giving it away. And, I mean, if you think that, if you feel comfortable and you're just charging $20, but you're doing, you'd feel like you're making a great living just charging $20, and you just get to sit in your house and draw all day, and you're doing that, then I say, okay, fine, if that's what you're going to do, if you really feel that works for you. But I guarantee you, a lot of these people doing this, they're doing it because they're struggling, because they can't get the real jobs. And they're not doing it out of the love at that point. Now they're just doing it out of a struggle almost. So it's almost not real. So you're still hurting yourself. You're not benefiting yourself. So I think, what happens that the artist is right-brained, but you do have to start using your left brain. And some artists, they just leave me alone. I just want to sit and draw. I'm not a business guy. I don't want to deal with anyone. I want to sit in my back corner over there, and that's fine. You know, if that's who you are and you know that about yourself and that's what you want, and you build up your reputation just by getting really good and people know who you are and people are calling you and you're just the paid artist, the paid risk. If that's what makes you comfortable, do it. But I say, you know, that's a rare few. The majority of the artists are all just trying to just claw their way and scrounge and just try to do whatever they can. So I think if you go in with a professional mindset, you create a professional atmosphere and you create professional clients. It's like you bring about what you think about. You know, it's like if that's what you want, you're going to start to infuse that. But if you keep being the poor, struggling, starving artist who gives away their artwork for $5, $10, $20, you're never going to be anything more. And you're never going to give yourself the opportunity to really become something, you know. So that's what they need to think about. And now you can create your own entities. Everyone has the opportunity to be their own entrepreneur. I mean, if you love drawing animation, create your own YouTube channel, create your own cartoons, create your own 1-minute cartoon. It could be the next Annoying Orange, could be the next Simon's Cat, could be, there's so many things that have come from people who just do these passion projects and people see it and it turns into something. It happens to musicians, happens to people, so why can't it happen to you? You know, so that's the mindset. It's like, well, how come everyone else, it happens to everyone else? Why can't it happen to me? And that's what people think in their mind. It's like, what? How do I get that? What about me? And it's like, well, you can if you get the right mindset and philosophy. And that's what I want to try to share with people more than anything through my teaching and my YouTube videos and just as a teacher is to start thinking independently and stop living to the expectation that people have set on artists, that artists are just, you know, they're flakes. Their artists are this, artists are that. It's like, this is why we've hurt ourselves. So if we can start saying, no, I'm not a flake, and I do have a good idea, and I am going to implement my idea, and I am going to do it, you know, and you start charging, and you show people, then things change. And that's what needs to be done, in my opinion.
Great. Now, a bit of a U-turn, but I was curious, how did you get into the app game?
Yeah, so I was always self-publishing. I was self-publishing books and everything, and then, but that was, you know, it took a lot as far as the distribution. I'm shipping. I'm doing everything out of my garage. I'm packaging my own books. I'm doing everything like that. And I've always kind of wanted to, as the app started to come about, I first started with this app idea called Pose Book, which is available. It's on the iTunes and also like Google Play. Android, and I felt there was something missing with poses. Like I love using reference. I think reference is essential to grow as an artist. I think if you don't use reference, you know, you want to use your reference and imagination. You've got to have a balance. But I felt I'd look at pose books, actual books, and go, God, these poses are so stiff. You know, someone standing like this, or you know, someone. There's no emotion. There's no feeling. And I've been drawing many models in the animation industry at the studios for many years, and so I knew these several models. And I had a friend of mine who was a web developer came up to me and said, hey, I just want to let you know, I know you had mentioned doing apps at one time before, but I'm starting to learn how to do apps. If you have an idea, let me know. I said, I do. I got an idea I want to pursue. So we just started working together. And I created this Pose Book app with all this photo reference for artists to better their skills of just drawing and expressions. And these models had a lot of expression and feeling and attitude. And we started putting it together. It took me like a year to put it together. I mean, again, the biggest thing is you don't need to know how to do things. You just got to start with the idea. And the idea was to create an app. But I didn't know what that meant at first. But once you find that target or that idea, that thing you want to do, answers will start coming, and you'll know what the momentum will start rolling. So eventually, okay, I'm going to do an app. Okay, I'm going to do a Pose Book app. Okay, well, I need to hire the models. Okay, I need to book them. Okay, I need a place to shoot the models. Okay, I need to take photos. Do I have a camera? Should I hire a photographer? No, I'm going to do the pictures myself. How do I do lighting? I go on YouTube. I learn how to do 3-point lighting. I rent a studio space that I found on Craigslist, you know, just kind of putting it all together, not knowing how it was going to work out, and then you just do it. And the mindset is just to build it. Just in a sense, build it and they will come. You know, you just got to, people say, I've been thinking I want to create a children's book. I want to do a children's book. Or my idea, I want to have a T-shirt line. So my thing is just do it. Just get it started and don't feel you need to figure out the whole, you know, you want to have somewhat of a business plan. You got to know who your target is, so you know, who am I going to sell this to, right? Because we're creating something for a consumer, and you've got to know, well, what is this going to be used for? So understand those things, but you don't need to know how it's all going to pan out. You just don't. And that's what stops people from achieving and accomplishing the things they want, because they put up this wall before they've even seen what's on the other side. You know, there's just like, boom, oh my God, T-shirt company, woo, I wouldn't even know where to begin. You know, it's just like, well, begin with the idea, the start. Just what is the T-shirt design? What is it, a cat? Are you trying to target dog lovers? Are you trying to target goth people? Again, so you can see how you start to find your idea, you hone it, and that's what's important. That's how the apps came about for me, and everything else that I've done is just started with just like, and being naive. I don't know. I don't know what can happen. Yeah. What's going to happen? I don't know. I don't know what happens if I print my book, and what if no one buys it? I don't know. You know, and it comes from that, I don't know, I'll try it. And so that's always been my mindset too, is just try it, because fear is what stops everyone from accomplishing what it is they want to do. And they're creating a story of what the end result's going to be when it hasn't even occurred. You know, they've already created the scenario of something going wrong.
Right.
It doesn't exist yet. let that wrong thing happen, and then find a new approach, find a different way to resolve it. And you will. The answers will come. They will. This is the belief in oneself to make things happen for themselves.
Wow. Yeah, that's great. And it's amazing how things snowball once you do start.
Absolutely. Yeah, without a doubt.
So now I wanted to talk about something that, to me, it's very exciting. It's this idea that you mentioned you wanted to start an actual physical school.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where did that idea come from? Why physical? When you already have this schoolism course, why an actual physical school?
You know, to me, it's something that I've always wanted to. I mean, I love teaching. I mean, I believe that's my true purpose and passion in life, is to teach. I think I've just been a teacher in my heart for forever. And so teaching online is great because I'm able to reach people all over the world, and I can do that. But there's also a limitation. I don't feel people can just learn from tutorials. I think learning is experiencing too, and it's about being present and having that instant connection. There's an energy that happens there when you're live with someone, where it's so much more special and unique. And then just the other artists around you in a learning environment, you know, just seeing the artwork, being able to, at a whim, just, you know, hey, Steven, you know, I'm struggling drawing the back of this wrist or something. Can you, boom, I can answer it right there. And I can also offer current insights. You know, when you do the online schools, you know, they're pre-recorded videos for the lectures, but I can, when I do my one-on-one, you know, it's live, but you're still maybe missing something that could be more current, you know, in there. And to me, again, it's that feeling, that energy. I mean, I love, there's just a difference, you know. It's like, the computer's great resource, but there's definitely, to me, that, I don't even know how to describe it, but all I know is that I feel it. I know my students feel it. I know when I do lectures, people feel it, and and it's that feeling that has to be done. And again, it goes in what I want to do. I want to teach. You know, I just love teaching. I love sharing my knowledge, and I want to help guide the newcomers. I want to help guide the artists and give them the direction and just help them find their path and be there for them to help them in whatever way I can. And that's the exciting thing. And I'm disheartened a lot by a lot of the 4-year schools out there that are currently in play. I mean, I see a lot of portfolios, these kids going to school, spending a lot of money, you know, $100,000 in debt after 4 years, and I look at their portfolios and I'm horrified. I'm just like, what on earth did you learn? You know, what is going on here? This is, and I know how a lot of these schools, they're businesses, and they make it a business, and it becomes, it's churn them in, spit them out, churn them in, and they'll tell you got to do all this other stuff, and people aren't learning. So I don't agree with that. I haven't for a long time. I just don't like it. So I want to offer something that's going to be different, and that's going to change, because I believe I can teach someone in 8 weeks what they will learn in 4 years. And I know I can, and I know I can, and I've proven I can, because I've had many students who have just attended my schoolism who tell me they learned more in the 9 weeks, in that 9-week course, than they did in 4 years of school, you know, and they have no debt, you know. And for me, that's exciting to me. That's exciting because I know I can do that. And again, I just love the power and of just like sharing that. And I've, again, seen the whites of the eyes of people and just them lighting up and just getting it when it clicks and seeing the progress. And my school, I want to do something so different than any other school. You know, the things that I'm going to do in this, in the art instruction facility that I'm putting together, is going to be so different that, you know, it's just going to be different. And it's not going to be a place where I'm going to have a bunch of teachers. It's just going to be me. You know, it's like, if you want to learn from me, you can come study with me, but it's going to be the greatest education and lesson you've had. You know, so I'm here, and I'm gonna. So I want to have that place. I'm just going to build it. And I've been saving money for many years for this. You know, it's been that lifeline. Again, it starts with an idea. It starts with the passion, and that's what. And I've faced a lot of trouble right now trying to get my building. I've gone through a lot dealing with it, but that's okay. To me, it's going to happen. And I'm already starting to frame my artwork. I'm already doing stuff. I'm already buying desks. I'm buying stuff because I'm building it before it's even I have the location. When it comes, it's going to be awesome.
Wow. So this sounds like it's primarily a character design school. Is that
character design and figure drawing? More caricature drawing. I'm not going to teach traditional figure drawing. I want to teach. I believe in caricature and cartooning. So this is more about taking the figure and infusing a lot more life and energy. I'm not going to tell you what all the bones and muscles are. You're not going to come to me to learn what the muscles in the face are, because I don't even know, and I'm not going to tell you. You know, what I'm going to tell you is how to break down the human face so it makes sense to you. I'm going to tell you how to break it down, the body, and caricature it and push it and use that for your character designs or animal design, whatever you end up wanting to do, building that foundation. So it's a character design and caricature figure drawing are the 2 classes that I'll be teaching.
Awesome. And I know it's still probably early to say. It's 2013. Do you have any idea when the school might be complete and ready to go?
It may be before January if things go how I kind of want them to go right now. But January has always kind of been the 2014 is the date for it to open. And what I'm going to be doing too, because I realize the importance, I've had a lot of people's interest in, maybe they can't attend the 8 weeks, but I'll be doing weekend workshops so people can fly out, come for Saturday and Sunday and attend the workshop, which will be all day things, just cram sessions, you know, of just like non-stop learning, eating, drinking, having fun.
Awesome. So just to wrap it all up, what single most important piece of advice would you have to a young artist who, you know, they're not great yet, maybe they're not even good yet, but they've got the drive, they've got the energy, they've got the desire.
Right.
What would you tell them?
You know, I would tell them just to just mimic other artists, because I believe there's a saying, I don't know where I heard it, but mimicry is the prerequisite to creativity. Don't feel that you shouldn't be studying and learning from other artists. But what I would say too is, don't overwhelm yourself with hundreds of artists to look at. Try to find a core group. Maybe you find about 3 or 4 artists that become sort of like your circle of influence, and each of them offers something different. Maybe one guy's really great at doing portraits. One guy's really great at doing simple cartoons. Someone's really, you know, so they're different disciplines. And you learn and you observe and you take that in, and then you start to form your own opinion because they did it. Everyone's done this, okay? Now what's happening is there's just such an, we're so overwhelmed by so many blogs and people's artwork. We see so many different styles. a lot of the stuff is all getting confused and blended in together. It's almost like you're hard to know what you're even looking at, or you become too like, oh my God, how do I compete? How do I do? You get scared, you scare yourself. So the thing is to find that core group and start really, and just study and learn, and keep doing, go to life drawing if you can. I think that's essential. Draw the human figure as much as possible. Just try to learn all those sort of basic the foundation. Your style is inherent within you. Just like you have your own writing style. Everyone writes the alphabet their own unique way. That's what every artist has in them too. You just got to go through the hundreds of drawings to get it out. It's not as easy. But, when you think about it, hey, listen, from the time I was born, and maybe I didn't start writing till I was about 5 years old, that's 5 years, right, of me not knowing how to write before I learned how to write. So don't be afraid to say, hey, it's going to take me the next 5 years from the time you come to this conclusion about you really want to start getting good. Give yourself the next 5 years to put in the manpower, put in the hours, study, go to life drawing, carry a sketchbook. Don't be in a rush, and try to, you do want to develop your own way, your own style, for sure. But as a designer too, you also want to be able to mimic other people's styles, because that's what you're going to get hired at jobs to do. Yeah, my whole career I've been hired a lot of times, besides if I designed the show myself, I was hired to mimic someone else's style. But that's what gave me employment. Someone else came up with the designs, and that's what a lot of the shows are. So learn. But how do you learn how to do that? You learn that through mimicking artists, copying, learning the foundation. Like if I were to study artists from Mad Magazine, or if I were to study Norman Rockwell, I would draw real heads, learn how to draw a real human head. Then I would start to transition and start to draw from Norman Rockwell. How did Norman Rockwell draw a head? And sit down and take the time and figure it out. I don't know the muscles, but I know the placement of them from drawing Rockwell, from drawing from Leyendecker. So that's what I would encourage any artist who knows that they got the desire, they got the talent, they want to improve. It's, again, the repetition. That's the secret to this all, is repetition. Just doing it over and over and over again, and just having a positive mindset, knowing what it is you want, knowing kind of where you want to be, and you say, hey, I want to work for Pixar. I want to be a storyboard artist for Pixar. That's your goal. Okay, good. Now you've found that target. Now you know what it is you want. Now you've got to start getting kick-ass at doing storyboards. Now the thing you want to start doing is researching what storyboard artists at Pixar are doing. Try to track their, buy those art books. Look at those and say, can I do that? And see what you can do. And that's when the better you get, and you start also infusing your own style, your own ideas into your portfolio, so it doesn't look like everyone else's work, but you have your own ideas. That's when recruiters look at you and say, hey, you got something, or directors to bring to the table. So, but that's it. The thing is, don't get discouraged. Get inspired more than anything. There's too much discouragement. People see what other people are doing. They spend too much time worrying about what other people are doing, what other successes people have, instead of just focus on yourself. And sometimes it even means, hey, unplug from Facebook for a couple weeks. Quit looking at into other people's lives. You don't know what's going on in other people's lives. On the outside, it may look all fancy and hunky-dory. Wow, look at Tom Cruise, man, multi-millionaire, has all this. But we know what's going on inside his life, right? Just chaos. And that's the majority of people. There's chaos. So you go, I don't want, that chaos, right?
Yeah.
So just focus on you. Do what you know how to do. Do what inspires you. Do what makes you happy. Do what just makes you feel good. And that's it. And that's what's going to be the drive. That's what's going to create the passion. And maybe it might not even be art. Maybe you love sailboating. And you go, man, I'd rather be sailboating than drawing, really. Well, then maybe you should go be a sailboat instructor. And you'll have a better life. So that's the sort of thing just to really, for every artist out there to really do, is just, again, that's the biggest thing. Just stop worrying about all that other outside stuff. Because I really do feel that's what holds so many of us back from accomplishing our real destination, our dreams. And we're trying to sometimes follow someone else's path.
Right.
But that's their path. That's their journey. They had to forge it their own way. They had to cut down those trees and bushes, their own way. You got to go in there with the machete, and you got to try to create your own path somehow. And then you'll eventually clear through that path at some point, and you'll get there. And then you're going to get to that point where you're going to be like, awesome, man, I achieved that. I'm in this clearing. This is awesome. But you know what's going to happen? You're going to get into that clearing. You're going to see the sunlight. You're going to see the ocean. It's going to be beautiful, and you're going to be happy. You're going to sit down, and you're going to be relaxed for a bit. But then you're going to start looking around again, and you're going to go, I'm going to go that way now. And you're going to get up, and now you've got to start going down another path. And that's the journey. And that's the journey we're on. So just know that there's never just one end be all. Know that you're always going to be pursuing things, chasing things, trying to get better at things, learning things. There's never just one thing, where a lot of artists, I think, have the misconception of the artist. Oh, I want to be like Brad Bird, or I want to be, Chris Sanders, or I want to be that. Those guys do their niche and they find that, but I guarantee you they're working on all their own stuff. They're trying to create new paths for themselves. Most of them are sick of what they're doing already. They've been doing it for so long, they're done. Mentally, they're ready to move out. They're ready to start a new career, a new path, to where they can do it there a different way. And everyone, that's the nature. So understand all this as an artist. And so if you got the talent, you got the desire, you got the passion, you want to get better, take these steps, and just eventually you'll forge on, and it'll be great,
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I can't thank you enough for taking the time and giving us all this amazing advice. I know it's helped me. It's motivated me. I'm sure it's motivated my whole audience. I'm going to put links to everything, your schoolism, your blog, your Facebook, everything in the description, so they'll be able to check that out. And yeah, thanks so much, Stephen.
All right, you bet. Thanks a lot. It was great talking.